Okay, a lot of people have this question, Ron, Congressman Paul, and I know you probably get it a lot, so let me just go ahead and ask it. Why is Ron Paul running for president? Is this a quixotic journey here to start the process of reformation, or are you really committed to the idea that, listen, we've got somebody has got to, like Ronald Reagan said, and you know this in 1964, I just wanted to throw my hand up and say stop. Is this Ron Paul throwing his hand up and saying stop?
Well, the truth is the real reason I am running is because there were a lot of people who pressured me into it. I was the one that was reluctant and didn't believe there would be very much support. So my skepticism had to be removed. It has been removed during the campaign. And so whatever I do it in earnest with the intent of winning.
Right.
But I'm very realistic, but very, very surprised and delighted at how the reception has been, the number of people who actually were looking for a candidate that they could trust and believe in. A lot of people had dropped out. They're coming back in. Some people who have never been involved in top politics, they come, they tell me they're 50, 60, 70 years old. It's the first time they've gotten involved. And the fact that the young people have joined us in overwhelming numbers and that the money is coming in, all of a sudden there's been a lot of energy injected into this campaign.
Well, I think personally that the entire debate over the foreign policy is a healthy one for the Republican Party and for the nation. When liberal Democrats argue it, they argued from the point that America's bad, evil, wrong, and must be stopped. You're arguing it, but listen, it just doesn't make sense. It's not constitutionally sound, and we have better uses for our money, which is why I say your point of view is intellectually honest. Do you get that you have mentioned from the young folks that you have met? And these are very important future voters and future leaders, that they get that part of it and that they're not just saying it because they think America's bad.
No, that's the big point, and I'm really impressed when the young people come up and say, and I'll ask them, why are you joining? They say, I love your position on the Constitution. And of course, it's human nature not to like war. Nobody likes war. So
right.
If they see an answer, and my position is, matter of fact, I had a vote called in the committee before we went into Iraq, is if you want to go, declare the war. But now, instead of doing that and having the real debate, now we went to war, and now nobody likes it. Now we're having the debate. But one of the reasons that we gave that authority was to enforce UN resolutions. Well, we should never go to war for UN resolutions.
Amen.
We shouldn't go to war unless it's declared, and then we should fight them and win them and get them over with. And now there's a cost factor. So good conservatives have to look at this and say, if we're not going to end it, how much more money are we going to spend? And this is consuming a lot of wealth out of this country.
One of the things that also comes up in conservative circles, and Ambassador John Bolton is one of the guys out there talking about this, U.S. should not be part of the multinational body known as the UN. President Paul, you say what?
I've always advocated that it doesn't serve our interests. We should be out. And I have bills into that effect. I don't like global government. I don't even like big government in Washington. So I certainly don't like global government. I don't like this trend toward a North American Union. I don't like NAFTA and CAFTA, although I believe in free trade. I think that's government, international government managing trade, not free trade. So I don't like the WTO or the World Bank or the IMF. It serves the power of the special interests, and now the special interests have gone global. They tend to run our country, and they're the group that we're challenging, but they like to run the globe as well, and that to me is a real challenge for all of us.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. Final question. I know you're busy. You've got other things to do, but final question. In the debate the other night, on the U-boobed presidential debate, which was a crock, in my opinion. Yeah. But a question was asked, and I saw you wanting to raise your hand to answer it, so let me give you the chance to answer. The question was asked about farm subsidies. And 3 candidates said, oh, no, we can't cut farm subsidies. And my producer, who you spoke with, he and I had a little discussion about this yesterday, and I explained to him the flimsy reasoning that is, well, it's not fair because the Europeans have farm subsidies. And I said, just imagine, James, for a moment that American farmers no longer have farm subsidies. We have millions of acres of land that's not farmed. How are they going to make up the difference in their income? I'll tell you how. They're going to grow more corn. They're going to grow more wheat, and they're going to flood the world market with cheap wheat and corn. Do you agree?
Well, we don't know exactly what they'll do. That's a possibility. But I wanted the attention because I wanted to state my position.
Okay.
Because I've represented, not at this exact time, but a short while ago, my district had 22 farm counties, and I've never voted for a farm subsidy. I think it's wrong. I don't think it's constitutional. I think big corporations get the benefit, not the small family farmer. The taxpayers pay for these subsidies. At the same time, the cost of their food goes up, so they get hit twice. And, who knows what would happen if we released it. One thing I would like to see done is re-legalize the growing of hemp, which has nothing to do with drugs. Yet we're not allowed to raise hemp because of the hysteria associated with the drug war.
Right.
And hemp's a good product. It's supposed to be a lot better for producing ethanol than corn. So the market has to solve these problems. Let me assure you, the politicians I know and the bureaucrats I know have no idea what's best in the market. They don't know what the market will bring. Neither do you or I know. That's what's so wonderful about the marketplace.
That's what's wonderful about competition. And hemp is also used to be the primary source for making ropes in this country.
That's right, and there's other health products that come from hemp, too.
Final question, Congressman Ron Paul, running for president. I really appreciate the time. Final question. Who is Ron Paul's most favored founding father?
I imagine Adams.
John Adams. Why? Why John Adams? That's a good choice, but why John Adams? I'm just curious.
Well, just because he spoke to what we needed,
right.
And he represented those views. So they all fit into a neat category. I have some, that are better on one issue than others. I mean, somebody like Hamilton has said some great things, but I didn't like his banking policy, and of course Jefferson was great on that issue. So to me, I put all the respect into the document that they finally drew up. Even with its shortcomings, it turned out to be the greatest document ever between the people and the government.
Isn't it amazing, Ron, how how right George Mason and Patrick Henry were, the Anti-Federalists, how right they were? If you read the Anti-Federalist papers, didn't they predict exactly this?
Absolutely. They warned us from the very minute. And the attack on personal liberty was immediate, too. So that was the reason in the introduction you were able to go back so far, immediately. Monetary-wise, it happened. They hated inflation, yet immediately there was a central bank set up. So it's it's the age-old thing. There always seems to be a group of people who like to exert power over others.
Congressman Ron Paul, Godspeed to you, my friend.
Thank
you. Where are you going to be this weekend if people want to come out and see you?
It's going to be in New Hampshire for a couple days.
And do you have a location?
Not in front of me, but they could find it on my website.
And that is ronpaul2008.com, correct?
Right. That is it.
Congressman Ron Paul, a pleasure, my friend. Thank you, and good luck to you.
Thank you.
All right. Ron Paul, you people, you heard it. There's the interview. I hope I answered all your questions.